Buster thought about it a minute, then went ahead and took a toke off of the fat, machine-rolled joint that the girl who worked in Keller's drive-in was offering. He drew it down fast, breath whistling, held it, and got a pretty good rush. He gave it back. She took a drag off the joint herself as she went back to the couch where John Boy was sitting. The flesh on the inside of her thighs quivered under her flowered bikini panties. Then she sat down and brought one leg up under her, resting her knee on John Boy's lap. John Boy took a hit off the grass himself. The girl pulled the hem of her t-shirt down to cover her panties, then noticed where Buster was looking and scooched so it'd ride back up again. John Boy clapped a beefy hand down on her thigh, saying, "You better go ahead and get some of this, Bus. It's prime choice." She giggled and smoked some more. Buster shifted his weight on the hassock and swigged some beer. "Nah, John Boy, you go ahead. My mind's on something else." He thought, Jesus Christ, in no way that I could think about getting laid right now, not after what we done to the little Mex last night. Buster couldn't even tell why he'd gone ahead and done it. And shit, it bothered him. John Boy, he just woke up as horny as ever, called down to Keller's, and told this gal to bring herself over after work. Wasn't no problem in getting her to, as long as John Boy had something to smoke. Buster wanted to talk to John Boy about what they were going to tell the man, but he couldn't so long as the broad was there, so he'd have to make up his mind about what to say to the man on his own. Couldn't wait no longer. Had to talk to him. They were going to have to get something done about the lawyer pretty quick, so Buster could leave town, probably go to California. Both Buster and John Boy ought to haul ass, sure they should. But whatever direction that John Boy was going in, Buster wanted to go the other way. The way John Boy threw money around, flashing a bankroll and talking like a lunatic, pretty soon somebody would start wondering where he got it. That, or he'd spill all the beans, bragging and popping off to some bimbo like that one on the couch there, just 'cause she'd smoke a joint and give him a little pussy. John Boy put the girl's hand in his lap, saying, "Feel how hard my heart's beating for you, darling." She snickered again, scratching her head, her brown-rooted, bleached blonde hair wiggling. John Boy kept hold of her hand, getting up, leading her off into the bedroom. Buster thought, that's sure okay with me, so long as she don't yell so loud a man can't hear himself think. Buster went over and stood at the window, looking down at the courtyard and deserted pool. He was in jeans, without a shirt. The pool was okay in summer, but kind of dingy looking in fall and winter, with nobody swimming or playing volleyball in it. The net whipped lonesome in the breeze. Buster needed to get his thoughts together, figure out how much bread he'd have to get the man to come up with. If he'd known how rich the man was and who he was, when the boss on Darrington who called Buster Old Thang too often had put the man in touch with him, if Buster'd known all that to begin with, the price of killing the old dude would have been a lot higher. When Boss Whitten, that was his name, had first come to Buster, all that skinny boss had wanted to talk about was parole. Boss Whitten wasn't really no bad boss. He looked the other way while Buster drove the tractor and swigged the Old Crow whiskey that little Fletch's niece threw over the fence. But Whitten knew that Buster didn't like being called Old Thang, even though all the bosses called the men that. They'd only called Buster that once before he'd asked them polite not to, and most of them wouldn't call him that anymore. Boss Whitten just called Buster Old Thang because he knew that it pissed Buster off. Buster had the tractor parked under a shade tree, one eye completely closed and the other one getting that way. It was July, around 1 in the afternoon, sun beating down, and just about the time of day when the bosses gathered up at the tractor barn to shoot the shit. Buster had line drugged 2 or 3 rows in a hurry, killing off a bunch of the cotton, getting through so he could park the tractor and catch a few Z's. Right over Buster's left shoulder, Boss Whitten's high, whiny voice said, "What you doing out here, old thing? Fucking off, I reckon." Buster jumped and banged his knee on the steering wheel. The pint fell out of the tractor and thudded on the soft ground. While Buster cussed, bent over, and rubbed his knee, Boss Whitten picked the whiskey up, held the bottle to the light, and squinted at it. It was a little under half full. Boss Whitten said, "Some old things don't think too good, old thing. If tractor driving don't sit too good with you, boy."